Hello, friends. Old Orm Shadowborn is back, and I keep taking these long pauses before making these videos. But I've been deciding to start working on my projects in chunks. So I have one finished. We're going to do a late night video tonight because I'm excited to show you guys and I don't want to wait. It does also answer a video request before. I did like kind of a brief, quick video trying to answer the viewer's question, but this is a much more direct, and I felt a little guilty for doing such a shoddy job on the last video. So here we go. We're going to try again. This time it's a little more classy. So tonight, I'm excited to show you guys how I turned my junk into my own treasure. And this is all parts and pieces that are super easy to find, just random crap from around the house. So, like always, let's have a little fun. This one is Crossbow. It is for LARPing. I'm making most of my crossbows like LARPing grade in terms of power, accuracy, etc., etc. Yeah, this is my little guy. He's a little one-handed doohickey. All of the crossbows that I'm making so far are for LARPing. They're not intended for hunting or for home defense or anything like that. If you are making this stuff for that reason, if where you live it's legal, or if you just simply don't care, I'm not going to be the devil's advocate here. I do understand, but for all intents and purposes, what I'm going to show you is dumbed down tremendously. So if you're looking for power, there are a lot of really good videos on YouTube that show people making like crossbows and stuff out of the leaf springs from vehicles, and those usually come out pretty fantastic. You can upgrade the power on these pretty significantly. My little post-apocalypse made it from the garbage arsenal. But the reason I'm doing this is because I like taking recycled materials and turning it into artwork, and I'm just a nerd for medieval things, and I like to LARP. So with that in mind, every time I make a sword or an axe, I want to make something, I want to make like the full weapon set, you know, the bow, the crossbow, the spear, the shield, the chest plate, etc., etc., and I want them all to match in sets. So LARPing is more fun with friends, and friends enjoy big open sets of things. So what I made this crossbow out of, as you can see, the body is mostly wood, and my ever faithful doob tubes, because weed is legal in New York and has been for a little over a year now. So I have a drawer that is devoted almost entirely just to doob tubes as a recyclable material for crafting. For this one, what I did was I put together, let's see, a block of wood here that's kind of the basis for holding the barrel, and yes, this is a giant paper clip. Now with the little paper clips, you can still make this exact same thing, and I'll explain all of that. You just basically make it onto a all one solid piece of wood, and you would use your thumb to operate a clothespin as your, you know, the little wooden ones you pinch together. Use a clothespin to operate your string lock. For this one, it's a little bit more complex, so I'm going to get into that. This center block here is holding the barrel and our crossbow arms for all intents and purposes. Then this block back here is, yes, it's our handle, but it's also got this, it's a plant hanger. It's like a little hook for hanging plants, but it's, or not for plants, excuse me. That was a different piece that I used. This is for hanging curtain rods. So I have that screwed in at the top and the bottom, but the bottom one, the hole is wide. The screw is in there basically to anchor it so it doesn't wiggle side to side. It doesn't have room to slide out of there, as you can see. But it does allow this to move up and down a little bit more freely, which we want to happen. I put a screw through it in the hook there so that its anchor point moving up and down isn't somewhere in the middle where it'll bend and wear and tear, and the hook won't be able to be manipulated as easily anymore. That being said, because of the length of the material I used and I didn't cut anything down, this takes like my entire hand length to use, so it still boasts a few safety mechanisms that most children aren't going to be able to operate this thing. Plus, it still takes a decent bit of strength to lock everything into place and get it ready to fire. So that's what I used for my hook, was a curtain hook. I discovered that those nylon straps work really well as a smooth surface for the bolt to slide down. They have like absolutely no resistance to them. They're very pliable, easy to use. And when you take straps and cut them down, they're already the perfect width, whether you're putting them into a groove, and they will fit the groove generally pretty perfectly if it's not too narrow. If it is too narrow and it's folding the strap, then you also know it's going to be too narrow and it's going to pinch the bolt, and you're not going to get success with your project. So anyway, and then these two outer boards here are self-explanatory. Those are just the skeleton holding all of this together, the front and the back end. I constructed the front end and the back end kind of back and forth, piece for piece, while I was doing this. So as I was building the front, I was building the back and kind of planning on putting it all together like this. I find that's the easiest way to put together a crossbow instead of trying to drill out through the top. But again, I'm not an expert, I'm just a nerd. So a loader is super easy for an adult, but it still requires a bit of strength because you have to pinch this all the way down. Any less and it won't go. Pop the string over, pop your line over the hook there. And I'm using an old Android phone charger just because they're obsolete, and I have a million of them and very few things in my house that still use them. And then, so we're gonna do the fun part real quick, and then I'll let you all get going for the night. I try not to ramble too long. I know that I do. I'm sorry, talk too much. It's just, I'm an old soul. So what we're going to be firing, by the way, is it's a colored pencil, just because it was lying around and it's the perfect size for this. And hey, listen, in terms of survival, you're fighting zombies, you need ammo. Nobody picked over the arts and crafts section anywhere. Maybe the sewing stuff for first aid purposes, but otherwise, all that ammo is just sitting there if you're an archer. So anyway, bolt goes in, very self-explanatory. I kind of like to mush it down just a little with my thumb, but you really don't need to. And then, let's see, try to get you guys a good angle here without blocking the light too much. Or shooting anything important in the house. My wife would kill me. There we go, that's a good spot. And there you have it. It only takes the one hand to fire, like I said. Nice, easy little spring trigger. It should, unless you get lucky and it just falls back over it when you squeeze this thing, it should take two hands to load. One hand to fire. And sometimes you gotta squeeze it a little hard, but again, this one is just a toy. Safety is always my first priority though, so when playing with stuff like this, don't forget eye protection. You'll look a lot sillier having to repeatedly tell the story for the rest of your life about how you went blind and shot with a colored pencil than you would just wearing some safety goggles. So safety is always my top priority when you're playing with friends and using this stuff, and you're out LARPing, or even if you're doing target practice alone, always be mindful of your surroundings, be mindful of your targets. Never aim for the face. Oops. Yeah, safety is always first, but don't forget to have fun. Okay. So thank you all for indulging me. I always enjoy showing you guys the random junk that I made. That I make, but I also really appreciate your feedback. So as much as I appreciate like ratings, even more so are your opinions. So feel free to stuff that comment section. down below with any thoughts, suggestions, things like that, etc., or anything that maybe I didn't touch on with this that you have some questions about. Um, Again, everything I make is out of recycled materials. I don't buy anything for this stuff, at least not with the intention of making something. I guess I save everything that way, but whatever. Thank you all for indulging me. Have a safe and fun night. I'll see y'all next time.